The first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima.
Over humanity!
The fires of frustration and discord are burning in every
Let us
city.
not forget for a moment the toils and efforts that lie ahead.
They say that those who forget their history are condemned to repeat it. This is the History Lessons Podcast with certified financial planning practitioner Patrick Huey, author of History Lessons for the Modern Investor, and your guide to financial wisdom in the past, present, and future. You ready? Good. Let's get historical.
Hello again, I'm Patrick Huey, author of History Lessons for the Modern Investor, and this is how history can help inform your investments, retirement, and tax planning for the week of November 24th, 2025. This week, we're focusing on exploration, adaptation, and endurance. Lessons from Lewis and Clark. And that's because on November 28th, 1806, Lewis and Clark returned home from America's great unknown. On that day, a battered but jubilant team led by Meriwether Lewis and William Clark stepped ashore in St. Louis, greeted by cannon fire, the friendly kind, and cheering crowds. Their journey had begun more than 2 years earlier with a vague map, a presidential directive, and some fairly big questions. Could the continent be crossed? And what or who lay beyond the Mississippi? With a diverse group of about 40, plus Sacagawea as a guide, the Corps of Discovery pushed through illness, famine, mountains, river rapids, and 1,000 moments when quitting would have seemed the most rational choice. By the time they returned, they'd mapped out the Northwest, opened routes for trade, and gathered a trove of knowledge about the land and its people. The real story, though, wasn't just what they discovered, but how they survived the surprises, the setbacks, and the uncertainties that map makers and history books could never predict. Here then are 4 lessons for the modern investor from the Lewis and Clark expedition. First of all, by all means, have a plan, but expect a few detours along the way. Jefferson's instructions may have started with a grand vision, but day-to-day success depended on improvisation. Torrential rivers, unexpected blizzards, or shifting alliances forced constant course corrections. And as investors, preparing a plan is essential, but persisting with blinkers on is just plain foolish. Market corrections, global shocks, and new variables are always par for the course. And true endurance comes from adapting your route without abandoning your destination. Second, the best teams blend skills, backgrounds, and perspectives. The Corps of Discovery was a mix of soldiers, frontiersmen, and native guides, as well as translators, none of whom could have made it to the Pacific alone. Every leg of the journey demanded new combinations of hard skills and soft trust. The best portfolios and organizations don't rely on a single star. The lasting resilience comes from diversification and the humility to seek expertise that fills your own blind spots. Third, resourcefulness turns threats into survival stories. For the Corps of Discovery, when food stores ran low, the team hunted, traded, and, innovated. When the river became impassable, they built new boats, or they forged alliances and went around. Investors, too, face the unknown. Liquidity crunches, regulatory shifts, white water along the way. Strength isn't about avoiding every rough patch, but about having a deep bench of tools, like cash reserves, flexible strategies, alternative ideas, to navigate what you couldn't foresee. And finally, celebrate your small wins, but always keep your eyes on the horizon. Lewis and Clark meticulously recorded progress, marked every mile, and celebrated each new crossing, but they never let their milestones tempt them into complacency. In markets, as in exploration, it's easy to let a good quarter or a hot streak cloud your own judgment. But remember, sustainable success comes from focusing on the long trek. So rebalance after your triumphs. Gather your lessons from setbacks and always leave room for another day's worth of surprises. One final thought. The safe return of the core of discovery was less about luck or genius than hard-won adaptability, teamwork, and more than a little bit of grit. Every journey, through markets, through your career, or through uncharted goals, will force you off script. The key is to plan earnestly, pivot without ego, celebrate the right progress, and bring home more than you left with, even if the route looks nothing like the path you had imagined.